All right, what's going on, y'all? Out here on the water, kind of just waiting for the bite window to open up. But while sitting here and waiting for these fish to get active, I figured I'd talk about the Daniki rig, a bait that's so simple and basic, uh, but it puts fish in the boat and has won a ton of money through tournaments. This bait has really exceeded and really came to its almost top form with the innovation of live scope and forward-facing sonar. But in this video, I'm going to share how to use it without live scope as well. I'm kind of just going to share what it is, how to use it with and without live scope. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so the Daniki rig is, like I said, something so basic. All it is just a jig head and a little minnow like that. That's all it is. Some people call it pinging a minnow, hanging a minnow. But down here in Georgia, we really call this the Daniki rig. I believe this is a 1/2 ounce head. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But just a little minnow like that. That right there is the Strike King minnows here. That's really what I use here because it's elastic. That elastic bait's gonna allow it to get bit more and more fish in the boat. But yeah, just these Strike King minnows here, which I have showed in the videos in the past. I'm not sharing the name, I actually don't know the name of it. The Baby Z2 is the name of it right there. That's my go-to. These, it's going to be a little bit harder to find, but these are some old school Bass Assassin minnows. Very similar to that Strike King, just a little bait. This has actually been used for crappie, but it really succeeds for bass as well. As you can see, Strike King on top and then the Bass Assassin on the bottom. Just those little baits, they do really well on a little head like that. And it works all times of year. It's almost a finesse moving bait, if you will. We're gonna get into how to use it now, because really that's all it is just a jig head and a little minnow. The minnow can be of your choice, same thing with the weight of the jig head. But what I like to do, I'm gonna start without live scope, without forward-facing sonar. So this is for you guys that do not have the forward-facing sonar. You're gonna cast this out, really just fan cast it like you would anything else. But then I usually let it sink to the bottom, and then I kind of pop the reel, or pop the rod, if you will, and then reel it at a steady pace. Because if a fish is gonna eat it, it's gonna eat it. So you don't have to worry about pausing it. See, like that was already one cast. A lot of fish might bite it on the fall, so cast it out there, let it sink, and then pop and reel on the way back. If you want, in that faster retrieve, you can add a pause in it just like that, and then continue again. Because like I said, if a fish is going to eat the Daniki rig, it's going to eat it. It won't take long for you to find out. That's one way to use without live scope. Another way, drop it straight down. I didn't cast it all. This bait is straight vertically under me. I'm only in about 7 foot of water, but what I'm gonna do is just very slightly pop that rod. You want little pops of only like an inch max to keep that presentation natural. You don't want any big kind of hops like that, because that will make erratic and not natural movement within that bait, and you won't get as many bites. So just straight vertical. So if you have like standard 2D or down imaging and you mark fish straight below your boat, just start popping that rod real slowly. But that's really the two main ways without live scope. Without live scope, with this, I'm really going to be targeting points, kind of just fan casting, especially ledges if I find a ledge. If there's a bait school, I might be throwing this in the bait school and getting fish that might be under that bait, chasing them. Now with live scope, you probably already throw this bait, and to be honest, with forward-facing sonar, this is probably the only bait you need. But with live scope, just pan around, and when you find a fish, cast it on its head. Like for example, if I just marked a fish right there, I casted it on its head, and then same thing as before, just kind of work it fast. You can usually tell on forward-facing sonar if the fish are going to eat it. If they come up on it fast, they're going to eat it, so keep playing with them. When I say that, either keep working it fast and it's gonna feel weird pulling that bait away from fish, but you're just gonna keep wanting to pop that rod and reeling it fast. And you moving that bait fast, it might be keeping the bait away, which you might think, but it's gonna trigger those reaction bites. And if a fish is gonna eat it, you're gonna tell very quickly about how fast it moves to that bait and how hard it strikes. And oftentimes with forward-facing sonar, what you're gonna see is a lot of fish chase this bait, but not always strike it. But if you keep throwing it, you will get fish in the boat. I really don't have many tips for forward-facing sonar, because I don't have it on this boat, but I have fished a Daniki rig with forward-facing sonar. And really that's it, just casting this bait on top of it, on top of a fish, if you will, and working it fast. You can add pauses. One thing I enjoy doing with forward-facing sonar and a Daniki rig is if I find a brush pile, I'll cast beyond the brush pile, not on top of it, but beyond. Do the fast retrieve up to it, and then when I see that bait on top of the brush pile, I'll work it a little bit slower, and then when I get on the closer side of the brush pile to me, I let that bait sink down, and then I'll work it fast again. Oftentimes when you do that with forward-facing sonar, you'll see those fish come out of the brush. Sometimes it will be kind of overwhelming how many fish come out of the brush pile, but the Daniki rig, something so subtle, it can trigger those fish into almost a feeding frenzy, if you will. But that's really all I got, because a Daniki rig, there's not much to it. As you can see, it's just something so little. Almost always throw it on a spinning rod. This one's just got 10-pound mono. That's what I run on both my spinning rods. That's probably not the best setup, but it still puts fish in the boat. But yeah, all a Daniki rig is just a little jig head with a little minnow. Elastic's gonna be better for you, but that's it. And I showed my retrieves, how I use it. Spate's better with forward-facing sonar, but you can still catch fish without forward-facing sonar. And yeah, if you learned something or liked what you watched, please consider subscribing and liking this video. And any questions or concerns, please leave in the comments. And thanks for watching.